Hello friends, it's another opportunity to get the best of sports business gist on Sport Exchange. My name is Jide Olaniro. The brainwave continues as FIFA president proposes a Pan-African Club Championship. And on the dugout segment, we look at that and the sports business industry policy that is to come. We go on a short break now, and when we return with the news.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back. And now the sport business news. The Nigerian Television Authority and its marketing partner, Hot Sports, have secured broadcast rights to the Super Eagles' forthcoming FIFA World Cup qualifying matches. The free-to-air rights are for the second round of qualifying for the 2022 tournament in Qatar. Nigerians will watch 6 matches avail them through this partnership. And in women football, a graphic artist, Olanrewaju Eleude, has emerged the winner of the Nigerian Women Football League Logo Challenge. His design was voted as the best among 48 entries submitted, making him 100,000 richer. The Logo Challenge is a process to kickstart the rebranding of the Premier Women Football League. And I'm still talking football. Yes, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has proposed a lucrative new tournament for African clubs. According to Infantino, the Pan-African Club competition will comprise 20 permanent member clubs, supported by additional clubs that will qualify through regional competitions. The clubs will provide a $20 million investment into the project annually over a 5-year period, as $100 million is targeted to keep the league at par with Europe's biggest competition. And still talking football, Hollywood Bets is now a regional sponsor of La Liga, that is talking about the South African betting company. The deal, which will run until the end of current 2019-2020 season, makes the Durban-based brand the first betting sponsor to the league in South Africa. It will grant Hollywood Bets visibility during broadcast of La Ligas via digital overlay technology, while match tickets will also be available for the betting brand to use in its upcoming marketing campaigns. And still talking football, French Ligue 1 champion Paris Saint-Germain Qatar Airways is now French Ligue 1 champion Paris Saint-Germain premium sponsor. The deal will run until the end of the 2021-2022 season. The global airline joins 4 other Qatari authority, television network beIN Sports, Telco, Radio, and commercial bank QNB as the club's premium partners. And we're talking about Paralympics and Olympics now. British Paralympics and Olympic Sports have prepared to launch the OTT platform. Yes, the British Olympic and Paralympic Sports have set up a digital and over-the-top broadcast platform. The initiative was announced by a group of leading sports national governing bodies, UK Sports, the British Olympic Association and British Paralympic Association. Concept for the platform has been developed for 2 years, with over 2,600 hours of content across 26 sports having already been secured. And that's the news. The next break is dedicated to a basketball icon whose death in a helicopter crash that comprises his daughter and 7 others shocked the world. Rest in peace, Kobe.
fantastically finished.
Welcome back. This is still Sports Exchange, and this is the Dugout segment. And I have with me a veteran sport journalist, Deji Omotoyinbo. Deji, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jide. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Deji, let me start by asking you this question. There's this belief that the African football is tied to the apron string of FIFA. One of the reasons is the Pan-African League that's been suggested by the FIFA president. 20 teams or thereabouts will come. They want to invest money, $20 million over a period of 5 years. And so many other things they're trying to tinker with. What do you think about it?
So many questions. First, who is investing the money? Is it FIFA or is it the African countries? Two, my worry with this is I do not think Infantino will go to the Asian Confederation or go to South America and be suggesting to them competitions. It creates the impression that CAF does not know what to do. It creates the impression that CAF do not have enough competent people, which I do not think is true. And coming on the back of the recent 6-month stint that Fatma Samura had here and to oversee developments, though we are told it was CAF that invited her and all that, I just feel that each confederating unit of FIFA should be independent. Okay. And the impression I'm getting is that CAF does not have that independence. Whether it is CAF going to FIFA to say, come and help us, or FIFA being a bit too intrusive, I really can't see it. But having said that, though, CAF has a tendency, I've shown a tendency to ape or copy things that happen at UEFA level and all of that. So, for instance, Nations Cup, we decided to go, the CAF decided to go the league format for our competitions when Europe went to the league format. Mm-hmm. We decided to go 24 teams when Euro 2016 in France went 24 teams. In fact, we adopted 24-team format right in the middle of qualifiers. And we made it difficult for a country like Cameroon to host because they thought they were hosting a 16-team tournament that required a certain number of stadia, and then the requirements got the better of them, and then Egypt had to step in to host. So I have a feeling that then the funniest of all, UEFA started a Nations League last year. CAF is talking about starting a Nations League. So the impression already being created is we don't have a mind of our own. And if you create that impression, the tendency is that CAF and FIFA and UEFA might want to come and say, okay, let's help you. Which I feel their own developmental strategies don't work for Africa. Africa is a different ball game. You should be able to have our own developmental strategies to grow football. For instance, this 24-team tournament, how many African countries, between you and I, can actually host a 24-team tournament that requires minimum of 4 venues? How many African countries? I'm sure we can count on our fingertips. And then you have it every 2 years. The argument is you want to have the Nations Cup every 2 years, you develop structures and all of that. You have not finished developing structures, you're already stretching the structural requirements. So I do not think CAF has a well thought out plan to grow African football. And when you create the impression that you have a problem, the big brother, FIFA, UEFA, might want to step in and say, okay, let's help you. I honestly do not have the details of the league they want to come up with, but how does it affect the CAF competitions already going on? There are 2 competitions, there's CAF Confederations Cup, there's the CAF Champions League. What impact would it have on those? What impact would it have on sponsorship? Would you not water down those competitions? Those competitions have sponsors. Would the sponsors not feel a bit aggrieved that you're bringing another competition that is watering down the impact of our own competition? All these things have to be considered before you take decisions. And for me, Infantino, FIFA has a propensity to just want to create competitions continuously. And hey, you and I know money talks. Mm-hmm. They are already talking about, there's a FIFA Club World Cup which Liverpool just won. Mm-hmm. They're already talking about having a Club World Cup.
That's it.
You know, and honestly, you don't get it. you have to develop at your own pace. Africa has to develop our football at our own pace. I think we are being dragged along, and in dragging us along, there are many, many loopholes, and there are many, many aspects of African football that the dragnet is missing. Key factor, there's a huge infrastructure deficit, and we are not addressing that. Maybe you have to address that at national level. And then when you say you want teams to host every 2 years, as we saw, if a country like Cameroon could have struggled, you know many other African countries. And then we have 54 countries in Africa. 52 countries in Africa affiliated to CAF. I personally feel a 24-team tournament waters down the Nations Cup. Some have said it's good for development, more teams and all of that. I don't know. I feel a tournament should have a bit of prestige. It should be a bit tough for you to qualify for it. Because right now, what it means is that almost 1 in every 2 African countries will be at the Nations Cup. Wow. So I honestly don't know how that works. But you know, the more the merrier when it comes to sponsorship. But the sponsorship money is coming in. Is it trickling down? Is it having an impact on African football at the grassroots level? I honestly don't know.
Wow. Anyway, let's leave that for those who the eggheads in CAF to answer. But let's now come home, and there's something you were part of. You were part of the Nigeria Economic Summit. Procedure to fashion
it's an inter-ministerial technical session that they're trying to fashion a policy for Nigerian football, moving to make it profitable.
Okay.
You know, because right now, you and I know there are many structures wrong. There's many structural deficiencies in our sport. So, there's a group within the Nigerian Economic Summit group called the Sports Industry Thematic Group. Okay. Some people have been working in that industry, in that group for a long time. I joined in about a year ago. You know, they've done a lot of work, so I do not want to claim anything that I was not part of, but they did a lot of work, and it got to the stage where they brought a few other people in. What they're trying to do, in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Sports, is to try and create a sports policy document for Nigerian football. Nigerian sports.
Okay.
A roadmap to move it to become a profitable venture for sports to thrive. All aspects, media, business, retail, you know, branding, sponsorship. So everybody involved in sports, you get value for your money. That's what, luckily and coincidentally, when they had the last Nigerian Economic Summit that they have in Abuja, the minister was there. He was a freshly appointed minister at that time. And he got interested. And then he sat with the NESG team, and they decided, let's have that interministerial session, which I attended. I headed a media and a new media group. Okay. What they're trying to do is, you know, sports cuts across sectors. Education is involved. Investment is involved. All these ministries came together, had representatives, and tried to address the cross-sectoral challenges in sports with a view to finding a policy document, fashioning a policy document that works. It's still in the works. The plans are still ongoing. Sometime, I think in December, the minister signed an MOU with the NESG to try. It's just to put structures in place. Put proper structures in place, even at the governance level, because, you know, if you try to put structures in place and government is not, because when I got involved, the first question I asked was, is government at this table? Okay. If the government is not at this table, nothing works. So luckily we have a minister who appears to be not inimical to change. He's amenable to ideas. He has a quick grasp of issues, even though he doesn't have what you call a sports background, but he's demonstrated intent, and we hope he'll be able to see it through, because we really need to put structures in place for our sports across board. You know, sports should be, for a country with the passion and the numbers that we have, sports industry should be thriving. You and I know it's not. Okay. So that's what basically is being done through that. And it continues. There's another session sometime next week, and I think there's going to be another interministerial meeting, policy framework meeting, and then later in the year, hopefully, a sports policy document that works, because many policy documents are produced in the past. I'm not sure they work, but come up with a sports policy document that works for all sectors of the sports industry, and that's the how would I put it now? That's the aim, that's the mission, that's the vision. Hopefully, we'll be able to achieve it.
All right. Now, are they gray areas that maybe the reservation you have yet? Maybe is it too early to say?
My major reservation is a lot of things we want to do needs approval from the very top. Okay. And you know, the minister is a political appointee. We have a minister there now who appears interested in pushing these things through. So my concern is, hey, somebody comes one day and there's a ministerial shake-up. The president has the prerogative to do that, and the minister comes and he's not even interested, because he's not the first minister. Various ministers in the past didn't show much interest in pushing these kind of policies through. And then two, when it gets to, even if he's there, when it gets to getting approval at the top, will he get the necessary approval? Will he get the necessary support from the House and the Senate to push these things through? It's still a long battle. But the good thing is that he's there, he's a good ally. You've got to bring the private sector in. Government cannot fund sports on its own. It's not good. It can't work. There's no country in the world where it's done. It has to be a partnership. But here, the problem with partnership is the organized private sector cannot see value. You need to show them value, because they have to go back and report to their boards that we're spending 10 naira on this sporting event, and this is the justification for it, because they are a profit-making organization. Most of them are, at least. So you have to bring them in. Government already has so many things stretching government purse. The minister mentioned a figure that was what was approved for him in this year's budget, and that figure is like a quarter of what he requires to run sports. So you've got to engage the organized private sector. The organized private sector won't just throw money at you. You have to sit with them, show them value. That's why I'm happy the NESG is involved. They work with the organized private sector in a lot of ways. PPP, public-private partnership, is the way to go. A lot of states now have, a few states now have the sports trust, which basically the sports trust is to raise money for developmental structures in sports, infrastructure and competitions at base grassroots level, secondary, primary schools, secondary schools, and all of that. A few states have that. Other states are trying to develop it. We've got to put those structures in place that make sports work.
All right. Okay. Okay. Well, in case you just joined, I've been talking to Deji Omotoyinbo, a sports veteran, sports journalist, and we are looking at Nigerian sports policy. Where do we go from here? Anyway, let me just say thank you very much for coming on the show today. Hopefully we will have more of you on Sport Exchange, where we talk business with sports.
No problems. Anytime.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. That's it. That's it for now. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, the program continues.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back, and now to the offside segment. Kansas City Chiefs won their first Super Bowl in 50 years over the weekend. According to Sports Business Institute Spain, the business behind the Super Bowl 54 are $6,390 average ticket price, over 149 million TV audience, $5.6 million average cost of a 30 seconds advert during the game, $2 million estimated number of pizzas sold by Domino's, $860,000 salary of an average NFL player with over 3 years experience in the NFL, $124,000 total bonuses per year for the winning side, and $66.8 billion is the amount of money expected to be spent on gambling. Now I know why those big music artists perform for free at the world's biggest sport events. It is a springboard to a global acclamation. Till I come your way next time, remember, sport is a leveler.